Hello, everyone. My name is Ali. My pronouns are he, him, his. Thank you so much for attending the philanthropy conference, and thank you so much for being patient with all of us and in this crazy time to be able to maneuver and figure out how the best way we could give you the best content. I was supposed to read off my poems and present on the day of the conference, but apparently I had some other serious matters that I had to attend to. So I'm here today to be able to read you guys my poems, every single one of them. Well, not every single one of them, but it's going to be a mixture. So I'm going to start from where I first started writing my poems. It was when I was incarcerated inside the juvenile facility. It was it was a dark time for me to understand, to try to figure out why I was incarcerated, to try to understand the world in different views, being a Black man, being a Muslim, being an immigrant, being somebody that, has had family issues, and just growing up in the white estate. Poetry was my way of coming out of the silence, of the darkness, of another way of expressing myself, and expressing the youth that I was with. And as you notice, like you're going to start to notice, like from the beginning of the poems, it's going to start to get angrier and angrier and more defined when it comes to what the world is actually messed up, and not only how it's affecting me from the juvenile facility, but how incarceration and how it just affects like people of color and Black people and whatnot. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and start up with my first poem. So this poem right here is just about Long Creek. And hopefully, as you guys have seen, our LD 1668 passed the House and the Senate, but the governor vetoed the bill to close down Long Creek. So it was a huge win, but a crazy surprising veto. But thank you guys. White walls and blue floors, strict staff and locked doors. I thought jail was for hard boys, but it's filled with some hard chores. Taking away my freedom, slowing me down like a speed bump. Who is they to me? When they see Ali, who do they see? Just a Black man in a blue tee, or a smart kids with A's and B's, or a criminal that's gonna take your money? You may blame me for things I didn't do and lock me up in a room that I can't get through, going crazy because my mind could have stayed in school, but no, I'll be out in the streets real soon. I mean, they tried to tell me how to live, but no one knows how to forgive. Take your own advice, because sometimes we strive to the only way we know how to survive. I'm deprived of sanity and humanity. Man, I expected better when I was born, but I feel torn for all to act norm. Norm is all to act normal. Act normal. Define normal. We're all different. I'd never paint a fake picture or an image. How do I stay alive? Why do they pry to make me comply and accommodate something that's meaningful in their lives? They haven't helped me touch the sky. See, I had to learn to earn my wings just to fly. So don't tell me how I have to live and have to go by, because when I go, I'm the one that has to die. I was 16 years old writing this when I was incarcerated, and I was actually incarcerated for something that I didn't do, but and I didn't tell on myself. So it ended up that I got probation and ended up, back on the streets and incarcerated again. So then I joined Maine Inside Out, inside of the juvenile facility. And what Maine Inside Out is a theater it's a theater group that came in and talked about our lives in a performance type of way. It was called it was the concept of theater of the oppressed. And with this concept in particular, we would use not only our stories, but we would create it from scratch and then perform it in front of our constituents and our peers. And what happened was, it was so good that we actually got approved to start performing off grounds for four different times. And the biggest one was at the University of Southern Maine, Hannaford Hall, in front of 500 people. And mind you, I'm 17 years old at this time, and it's huge. It was just huge to me to be able to do this. Then we started outside programs, and the outside programs got us to really speak about not only incarcerated issues, but now other issues that were a part of the community. So this is a poem that I wrote, I think a year or two after I was out. Here you go. They tell me I don't belong here, return to your country. And now I'm standing here looking like a dummy. I wish my mom would have left me in the motherland where it's wonderland. I feel wanted, man. Because the actions they say I've admit anger, but I admit I had the same views because of one radical, unpractical animal wasn't thinking rational when he blew up. Now I'm a Muslim and I'm screwed up. But look at the Indians. They were chewed up by a Christian man when he stepped off the boat and into the sand sent by King Ferdinand. Genocide must have been the plan because over 3 million died on their own land. But he's a hero, taking and killing for the petty De Niro, and I'm still a terrorist when I'm hurting zero. And to add to the fact that I'm black, oh, he's so fast he should be running track. But I don't want a plaque. What's the reality of a surprise attack when a bullet goes through the cardiac? I'd rather die from a heart attack than to be attacked for being black. My problems are adding up. Nah, this is just the beginning. It's been years since slavery. Why is racism still winning? Can we see what's real and start forgiving? Because we all have flaws in the history of our living. If you see me, I'm existing. You can't say that I'm missing. So listen. All this can be annihilated. When they say go back, remember, we have all migrated. We all run race in America. None is violated. This isn't your or my nation. So let's have a celebration. We'll eat and drink together. That's hydration. And that one was written pretty much because of like Black Lives Matter didn't exist then, you know, and race was not really talked about then. So I had to say it in a way that people could understand, but it was not like, oh my God, like, oh, he's talking about, you know, race again. And it was a, how can I say it? It was a conversation that was not like really brought to light at the time, you know, except when it was forced in 2020. And then thereafter, you know, I started to have like a lot of issues with my friends, like being incarcerated and then passing away. So these next few are in particular like how juvenile incarceration really affected us. They try to dehumanize us juveniles, but we utilized our imagination and revolutionized Maine inside out. Without Kiara's motivation and Tessie's foundation, we slowly pace in anger and frustration. Margot would come, total transformation. Bright faces in nice places. Now they develop our setups to welcome our guests, and in truth, they left with a message to answer the question, to build a lesson that would lessen the number of adolescents that are stressing. No excuses, just confessions. We ain't perfect, but we're better than those who judge, making moves for our future, keeping relations with our blood, letting things go, no need for a grudge. We stand tall, legendary. We'll make it by any means necessary. All we ask is don't put us in a box because we'll break the locks, build a foundation, and we'll stay on top. And then this one was so after that one, like a lot of my friends started passing away, and it was like back to back, and it was just like it was so surprising to me because nobody's seeing this. Like, how do you guys not see the long-term effects of addiction, of homelessness, of like incarceration only puts you in a deeper place. Like you have a criminal record, you can't even get it accepted to school, like you can't get a home, you can't get a job. How do you expect really to live, right? So this one right here is going to be a deep one. So this is something that you know, that this world is cold. It's ignorant, belligerent. What a dumb old soul. Never know what you lost till the day you lose it. So we smoke and stay sniffing. Most of us just booze it. Forget about what's real. We'll live in a goddamn dream. But goddamn does not. We done chose to be fiends. Let's just ask ourselves, what is important? Add the bad to the good. Why don't we just sort it? Rest in peace to our homies. Our words are weak. It can happen to anyone. Our future is bleak. Why didn't I call him? Why couldn't we stall him before the ground felt the smack before when the bullet befalled him? But there's no answer. It's all a facade. Well, I hope he was back, man. It's qadrullah. What I know for a fact, the last bit of thought, when his finger pulled onto that deadly Glock, he witnessed the shot flashing like a clock, his breath heaving in a shock. Angel of death don't knock. Body stiffened like a rock in that very spot when the blood boiling hot, see the last tear drop. Was for the son he cropped. Now a fatherless child and a mother who's mourning. She remembers the birth of a child that she was adoring. Lost it all to the game like that shit is temporary. Niggas made a occupation like this shit is necessary. You're getting played like treason. It's a goddamn season. When it got you freezing, they call it trap for a reason. I'm tired of losing my homies from the love we had. If you die, we pay because we're all comrades. Homie Shine was cut from limb to limb. Tap, tap, tapped out because he couldn't swim. Richard unleashed no least for a beast. Jonathan, we love you. Your journey's complete. Now take your step forward to a place we'll meet. I promise to walk, to follow walking very discreet with our swollen feet. See you in our dreams. Hope to heaven we fleek. Rest in peace to our dogs. From our souls we speak. So that one was a deeper one when I lost back to back. And then I started going through like a lot of mental health issues because of everybody expecting like me to just be great, like expect like, as if like not all the issues that I've dealt with, like people looked at me like more of like a local star. Oh my God, this kid, he's this and that. But not understanding that it was just like killing me at the same time, because like I couldn't be everywhere. I can't be the person that everybody wanted me to be, this like shining star. Like I still had a lot of trauma. I'm still a Black man in America. This is still before the BLM protests. So this one really hit me hard, and it was just like, okay, how do I address this? How everybody expects me to just be perfect and whatnot. So I said, I've been at the high, I've been at the low. When you're high in the sky, everybody knows. And then you're dry at the bottom of the slope. And everyone's asking like, why can't you cope? Those you help with wealth and gratitude are passing you like, who's that dude? It's blastful, solo like shackles that crackle when you walk. Oh, you hear me now? The steel's rubbing the ankles. Oh, you feel me now? It's not the physical pain. I'm emotionally drained to carry a facade that caused all of y'all to be in awe. Like, I want to be him. But a star will eventually fall as it crashes and it burns to ashes. And y'all think it's magic, like a shooting star? Well, make a wish that you see the pain before you expect the bliss, because you'll make that star flow through the drift and into an abyss. We're humans, not stars. So stop expecting the best. Thereafter, I started to get back into my groove. I left the state of Maine, and went to my my home state my family state in Ohio. And I came back, and I was like, what, I got to get back into my groove. I really need to get back into social justice and racial justice. So this is where I wrote Chess Game. And it goes like this. I live in an area of a world where we all smell the same. We taste the same. We feel the same. I mean, we even look the same. Similarities and ranges from Caucasian to yellow and beige when it comes to my Asians. But now look at me. It's a brown face, but also known as the Black race. A bold face that I embrace. The same, just born in a different birthplace. Sometimes I feel like it was a race, like who hit the land of the free in the first place. And now authority is set and rules are rendered. For the white opportunists, us colored surrendered. From slavery to segregation, lynching and discrimination, living with poverty and being patient, hard work and dedication, without an opportunity for occupation. Even though the Black female exceeds the most in education, with only 12.1% of our population. What a nation. They give us little by little of our mandatory freedom. They've built this country. Do you see how they treat them, conceived them, while those in power were eaten, telling them anything to mislead them? And they believed them. We're told that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is treasured. But for us, we're in search, chained heavy while being pressured. Our resistance for their pleasure. We live tough so they could live better. But the law's written for all, man. But lately, the police have all stand above the law of the land. Acquitted for minor faults is something I can understand, but the bloodshed we fled from home for maybe a brighter chance to get slaughtered in the light of day when we never ran. I'm not bulletproof. I put my hands up, they still shoot. An accident may be considered, but handset technology where cameras are configured, uploaded on Instagram, Facebook, and tweeted on Twitter, as we witnessed the incident making us feel bitter. But the headlines are twisting it, making us reconsider. We must hold them accountable, for all life is valuable. I ain't get permission to trade, so why is my soul collateral? An authority with law enforcement take minor academic courses now determine my life choices? And they all friends. Yeah, I said it. Those in the justice system make small plans while sit and sipping tea determining my life chance. It's a game to them, man. And this is how it's said. The king is the judge in this game of chess. The queen makes decisions so the DA knows best. And the horses are the police making crooked arrests while putting bullets in our chest. Now the bishop, that's the attorney that's making their charge less. And the rook, that's the sneak that's paying off all debts. And us as pawns, sacrifice with our death. See, that's why we're upset, because we're still being oppressed. Isn't it enough that we built this country with our sweat, only to be lied to and promised with false jests? We play defense with this. We play defense with this world, so we can do our best. What do you expect? The offense commenced to kill a man while he's on his own fence, only to see a phone in his hand. His fist was so tense, probably from the fear that he had lost all chance from an unfair battle of this game of chess. Checkmate. Then the next one is about how people believe in incarceration, juvenile incarceration, and how children incarceration itself is just another form of slavery. It goes like this. I put my fist up with this mission, and you know our moves are hella efficient, man. Through the prisons full of children, we're here to address the system. A child, despite the mistakes, it's still a child. To torture the brain, to make them insane when tried as an adult is inhumane. It's cruel to detach a child from home and school to use for their own benefit. Lock them up and throw away the keys is evident, but child labor is what they're settling. I mean, that's what the prosecution is selling them. 50 cents an hour is illegal except through imprisonment. Read it. It's in your constitution. That's a hell of a dividend. Not to mention that some of these kids are innocent. Yes, we know black is less. The society is awful, and this government doesn't make it any better. We're already down, but they're pushing for lesser. Today, I stand to express my First Amendment. This shit is wrong, and I want you to feel the tension. I'm not asking anything from you, but to do what's right, speak your minds, and help these lives. Raise your hand and question. And for those that are silent, you sit in acceptance. Now make your decision. So this one was a little bit different. This is not about incarceration or anything like that. This is about existence, of how to see someone that is oppressed, or how we look at people. Because in America, we like to exclude individuals. We demonize people that are black and that are immigrants, now Muslims. Like, we are always looking for someone to blame when we are the people to blame. We have caused a lot of the issues in the world, and we have to accept that. And to demonize folks just because of who they are and what they are is the real reason why we're having problems in America. So this is just to clear the smoke. Hurt people hurt people. Sometimes I wish my chest was see-through, every organ in my body, so you notice that I am you, examining that every shape is shaped equal, to come to a conclusion that the skin is just to shield you from a cold world that's consistently trying to beat you and you and you. What color? It doesn't beat blue. Don't let your veins fool you, because as soon as that rips, you'll notice you'll bleed too. My appearance is only to identify. If we all look the same, we couldn't tell who's right or wrong, just skeleton fighting about whose arms are long. Our perfect existence on an earth that grows provision, by planting a seed as it grows exquisite, enriched our vitamins that are so nutritious. Sun rays that don't blemish this very skin so precious. Ultraviolet with no chemist, precision with perfection on the exact percentage. A balance of H2O with the rain that falls on the ground where the trees will grow, CO2 emitted from the lungs that show as my skeleton exhales invisible to a large leaf with tiny holes, a release of oxygen as a breath we know. I'm thankful for all the things that I know, that my brain could grow semen and eggs from children that I could raise to show a world so perfect as Mother Earth we know. I'm thankful. So what difference is there in in us being that our shields have a different perception? We're overlooking at our own perfection. I look at the world. I love the world that gave me a chance. So who am I to judge when the world is giving you your stance? And equality of living, enjoying the earth that's floating where it doesn't fall like a ball with none supporting, grateful that we're not crashing, stable, everlasting. So much for passion, but we're steady contrasting. If you know how much to be grateful for, you lose the anger that you're faithful for. The depression disappears that you were shameful for. You start to live a life that you're wakeful for. I just hope that you don't hurt no more. So next one is carceral humanism. This one was during the pandemic. And I don't know if you guys heard this one yet, but excuse me. This here, like, is deep. And I want you guys to like really hear every single bar. Carceral humanism is what does it mean? What does that mean? Carceral. Like carceral means incarceration. Like what's in a carceral state, which means you are confined. And if your life is confined, like the only way I can express that feeling and to like base it on something was like the pandemic. When the pandemic happened, everything was shut down and you were stuck at home. I felt great. I loved it. Why? Because I was like, I'm not being watched anymore. Like I'm not the one that's old that has to hide and all the time. And everybody was feeling that, the fear. And that is the same way Black and brown people feel in America every single day. So here we go. As I'm sitting here quarantined, I use it to my advantage. Confused times, but there has been no damage. A relieved sigh from a wounded bandage. I feel so calm, like it's easy to manage, but many will differ because they can't really stand it. If you're wondering why I'm so subtle during these casualties, it's because I'm used to calamities. It's part of my sanity. Let me picture you my fantasy. This is a painting of my reality. I contemplate and I concentrate. You tend to do that when there's a lot at stake, coming from emptiness and a soul to hate. I couldn't be that lucky number 7 while in section 8. We were in a trap cage by fences. Well, that's how most hoods are if you see through clear lenses, surrounded by outside barriers as if it's a watchtower, while community police had that sole power to protect and serve with their slogan, but the false advertisements will leave you broken. False promise that setting calmness does not become honest. Painting me a picture with fake polish as we work so hard with no profit. Only thing rising is your pockets, so stop it. We were raised in an asylum in tight spaces, non-private, in a building that has high mileage. Expected you raise your child in, as we accepted blinded, because if we speak out, we're wild, and so we tend to keep silent. My life has been stricken by so-called policy. Poverty had become the essence of my democracy. While options and opportunity depend on your community, my pathways were bleak with no sense of priority. But somewhere a pipeline was mentioned from school to prison, as if it was a norm, from a detention to a detention. As sadness and grief surrounded my gaze, with a shelter at home but no parents some days, siblings to foster I never asked to raise. I sacrificed my hunger so they could be safe. I feel weak in class. I can't stay focused for long. My mind worries in fragments. It's a replayed song. I may have ADHD. Is this how it feels? What the hell are we discussing? These people are weird. How can they sit here and focus? It's just not interesting. I have shit to deal with, man. Please wrap up this lesson. Some days we would talk about slavery or Vietnam or Japan, or how terrible Hitler was to set up his plan while pointing out all the world's mistakes. We're the heroes here with some similar traits. And then it hit me after a second. Isn't it crazy how a complexion can choose the direction that you choose to step in? A mere vision of tint can change your mindset or the cognitive thinking, I guess. Hypnotized to not realize that we're a mess, taught how to hate in a society that we do not address, because race is a topic that's so complex. But how do you ignore something that's so suppressed? Maybe it's because you're not the one that's being oppressed. But yet, I seem different. A vision where lineage is stuck in a systematic prison, brainwashed into their predicament. Well, one can't control, one can't be held accountable. So how do we choose to live like you? Change from black to blue or a few shades lighter too? My mindset were all the resources that were given to me. And at that age, nobody would listen to me. So I concentrate. A failure is what society illustrates as my fate. It's not about the choices we make. It's what's given on my plate. While constantly being watched with no option to evolve, I see the chaos all around me. So I paused. I had thoughts. That making it out must be the best escape, but an invisible chain is instilled in my fate. My carceral humanism is upstate. But with wealth and plans, I must fluctuate, lead a positive trait to find a way out this empty space. My results of anger as they ridiculed transforms into energy, physical, but not the arrogant results of a mule, but the motive to build a stepping stool, to return and give back what we once lacked, educate and separate from what distracts at a common goal as our mind attracts, because only wolves are strongest while in a pack. So I'm setting this movement of working together to better our circumstances here and forever. Well, not just for us, for our families too, loving brothers and sisters that look like you. I'm exhausted and tired of seeing those weary eyes that glistening in the light fades like that mother's smile. As she has to bury her seed, a pain to see her cry, and she asks God why she's fragile inside. And here we are, in this mortified human life. With corruption, some are blinded by. Inequity has taken the power slide while reality just hit for the normal mind. While we're in this predicament, let's remember to be appreciative. Lots of things we have taken for granted, like the structure and the opportunity that you were handed, isn't the same for every child that has once been stranded, while the public eye has been blinded and vanished. Everyone was careless before COVID's transit. But now that we're all on the same planet, I hope you see it from our end and finally understand it. It's quarantine. I had this other poem that I wanted to read to you guys. If you give me a moment just to find it. Yeah. So it's called Concept of Blame. Okay. So this one I wrote when I was really mad. I was so angry at the system. One of my friends that started with made his head out with me, and from incarceration, got out, did all the work that he did, was a leader in the community in Lewiston. The leader, I was a Portland leader, and he eventually, he eventually passed away from overdose after the system was not only attacking him, but like he was out in a performance one time, and DHHS came by his house, and after they came to his house, they took his kids, and when he came home, he just got tired. He's like, I can't do this. They took my kids. He has, 2 kids. He was only like 20 years old, 2021, and decided to just go out and drink and mix it with some pills. And the next day, his wife came outside of the front door, and he was slumped on the chair. Mind you, like I was just with him the day before. After I got the phone call, we went to go bury him, and it was an Islamic burial where we would wrap his body around a white sheet, and I was inside the grave putting the body on the side of the sand, and it was so disheartening because like this guy was trying as hard as he can to make it, like everything, but they kept fucking with him, and the police kept fucking with him. Everybody was just messing with him. So this right here, I wrote this about, I was just tired of the system. I'm like, I'm done. So here we go. The system is built to structure a game, a concept of blame on one's actions to shame, to get what they want from man to flame, and fuel this ongoing chain of sequence. It's business. As soon as someone says you did it, you're finished. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's written. Going through an adequate process of innocent until proven guilty. It's inadequate. It's lawless. It's a movement that's so filthy. You're lied to before and after that courtroom, from the lawyer of the day that was fed with a silver spoon to the judge that was taught in classrooms with forefathers that had slaves called coons. As soon as you feel that metal on, you're doomed. There's a power strike from them up unto you. Now you hear your daughter's voice on the phone saying, come home, and you in your cell out cold and all alone. That emotional abuse shot right to the dome as you hear the screams of displeasures, not of moans. See, they want you to admit to shit that's set on a script from a team of cops that sit and choose you from a list. From he said this, so your description may fit, so they make it look guarantee on paper that you're it. But what I don't get is if they're innocent, why lock them up in a cage until proven otherwise? The circumstances show me different, so please justify. Locked from wrist to ankles, kind of like the slaves when they were told to walk on the ship in shankles. No options to walk on a plank, though. Only the strong survived while being strangled. Kind of like the deaths in prison, so dismantled. Or when cops kill blacks as we run scrambled, singing songs while we hold and lit candles. But we protest wrong, so we get handled. We're brainwashed. I don't listen to a weird talk because poison has been filled through earshot. From a slave master to a badge and a gun, from a runaway slave to fleeing and run. I was always taught that white men love to hunt, but never imagined killing just for fun. Is it a hobby? Kind of like selling slaves through the auctions in the lobby, to how the bails and the bonds be. They take you from your home, they take you from your job, they take you from your community, they take you for their cause. We ask them to ponder, to realize their flaws, but the fear of the system have them sitting in awe. That's why depression is so high in America, because your brains are eating at you with terror, huh? 2.5 million are locked up in this country. That's 35% of the world, man. How funny. And they say you broke the law thinking you're a dummy. Shit is illegal to breathe wrong if you don't have the money, but we're stationed. We got 5 million people on probation. That's 66% of the world that's enslaved and right here on our very pavement, land of the brave in. Well, I call it the land of shame. Disgrace that I feel like I represented a land of pain. Always wanted to hope Well, I call it an Atlanta shame. Disgrace that I feel like I represented Atlanta pain. Always wanted to feel like there was a hope for change, but I come to find out history is just the same. Look at our history and discover history is just the same. We are murderers, deceivers, and greed is our potion. We strip the good away from people with one swift motion. Never taking blame for ourselves. It's just constant excuses while the facts were on the table. You still feel clueless? Look at our history and discover what extent of wonders we choose for power to come under, from annihilating the natives to inhabiting the slaves in, creating spaces for immigrant nations such as sneak informations, Hiroshima's Masons with Nagasaki's inflation, Middle Eastern invasions to drug infestations that increase our population. History explained in our actions made. We are what we do. And until I see change, you are the ones to blame. Yeah, so that right there is going to be wrapping up my poems, but there's a special one that I think that I expressed for philanthropy itself. I will connect a professional video of philanthropy that I recorded for Juneteenth that just passed by last week to this video here, and please watch it. And yeah, and also if you guys wanted to follow my pages, it's Humble Philosopher Ali on Instagram. My poetry page is Humble Poetry 2020. So, and I'll add this at the bottom of the email. Yeah, Facebook is Ali, and Twitter is Humble Philo 2020. Main Youth Justice USM. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed the poems.